You ever have a moment where the world just tilts under your feet and you think, well, hell, that's it. That's the line I can't uncross? That was me, standing in the master bedroom doorway, rain dripping off my coat, watching Maya Williams in my bed, my boys curled up beside her, sleeping like the dead for the first time in months. I'm not going to lie to urge isn't the word for what I felt. I was lit up from the inside, disbelief crackling in every muscle. What the hell do you think you're doing in my bed? I didn't care that I was shouting, didn't care that Ethan and Eli might wake up. All I saw was some stranger, this woman, in my place as if she belonged there. Maya shot up, eyes wide, not guilty, just shocked. You know, sometimes people don't look scared enough of you, and that makes you even angrier. The boys looked so peaceful I'd forgotten what that looked like on their faces, honestly. Then Eli started crying. Ethan's nose started to bleed, and before I could even process it, my hand came down hard across Maya's face, loud enough to echo off the walls. I'll never forget the sound. She just staggered, one hand to her cheek, and stared at me like she'd never seen violence before, or maybe just hadn't expected it from me. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just looked tired. "You're fired," I growled. "Get out. Right now." She stood there, not moving. Then she whispered, "They begged me not to leave." I stayed because they were finally calm. Finally safe. I said it again, harsher, but she just leaned over, kissed both boys on the head like it was the most natural thing in the world and left. Shoes in hand, face burning, past me, out into the rain. Didn't look back. Didn't ask for anything. Sometimes the hardest thing is when someone leaves with dignity, you know? It's like you expect a fight, and when it doesn't come, you're left standing there holding all that fury with nowhere for it to go. Mrs. Keller was at the bottom of the stairs, saw Maya's cheek, went pale, but Maya didn't say a word. Just walked into the gray drizzle and disappeared through the gate. Upstairs, the boys didn't wake. They just slept. I sat on the edge of the bed, head in my hands, and felt shame bloom in my chest like black ink spreading through water. On the nightstand, there was a note in Maya's handwriting. "If you can't stay for them, at least don't push away the ones who will." Not signed, but she didn't need to. That house was so quiet after she left. Not the good kind like after a snowstorm, but the hollow kind like the world stopped breathing. I tried to make sense of what happened, but all I could hear was the echo of my own voice, that slap, and the boys' soft breathing. Mrs. Keller came in, told me Maya hadn't done anything except care for them, so the boys begged for her and not for anyone else. I wanted to yell to rage at someone else, but it just broke something inside me. For the first time, I realized she'd done what no doctor, no therapist, no expert could. She made them feel safe. Outside, Maya was walking toward the train station, coat tight against the cold, face still burning, but she didn't cry not until she was alone with a cup of bad coffee and a kind stranger offering tissue. You know, life's funny that way. You can survive abandonment, the loss of your own child, a dozen foster homes, but a single slap from someone who should know better at sticks. The next morning, I tried to make breakfast for my boys. Scrambled eggs, toast, fruit. I'd never done it before. They looked at me, both asking, "Where's Miss Maya?" I couldn't lie. I told them I yelled, I hit her, and now she was gone. They turned away. That moment, man, I never felt so small. "I'll fix it," I promised, but promises don't mean much to kids who've been left before. Maya, meanwhile, was at a shelter teaching runaway girls how to write their stories. She told them about choosing to stay when everyone else walks away. When she left, there was a note on her bike. "They asked for you, both of them." Not signed, just true. That's the thing about real care, it pulls you back in, whether you want it to or not. I found her at the community center teaching a class. Walked in, no apology letter, no grand gesture, just raw need. "I need to talk to you." She heard me out, stone-faced, didn't let me off the hook. "You want me back for your sons, not as a nanny, but as family. Is that it?" I told her the truth. She laid down the rules. No cameras in the kids' rooms, dinner together at the table. We rewrite the rules as a family. And if I ever raised a hand again, she'd be gone for good. I said yes to all of it. What else could I do? When she came back, the house felt different. Eli ran into her arms. Ethan handed her a drawing. You stayed even when you left. We rewrote the house rules with crayons and magnets, no yelling. Ask before hugging, pancakes on Sundays, apologize when you're wrong. I made space for forgiveness, even when it was hard. Time passed. The boys bloomed. I learned to fold tiny socks, braid hair badly. Maya found her own roots. Her mother came back in her life. And little by little, our house filled with not just people, but stories of survival, forgiveness, the messiness of real healing. There was a custody battle with Rebecca's parents, threats from outside, old traumas that never fully left us, but together we fought. We didn't let the wounds become prisons. We turned them into gold, like that Japanese art kintsugi. We built the Hawthorne Williams Center for healing, not a clinic, not a shelter, something new, a place for kids to find roots and wings. Belle, a runaway with blue hair and a heart like a fist, became part of our family too. She stood up in front of the world, told her story, survived a smear campaign, and learned she mattered. Some nights, I'd find Maya walking the halls, touching the walls we'd filled with art and poetry from kids who used to be too afraid to speak. She taught the man Met Hat healing isn't about erasing the past. It's about building something true right on top of it. There were days I doubted myself, days the press came for us, days the old anger crept in. But Maya never left. She called us to stay, to build, to keep choosing each other even when it was hard. There were proposals and rejections, moments of grace and forgiveness that broke me down and rebuilt me better. And yeah, maybe our family looks different than what people expect. Maybe there are scars and old wounds, secrets and sorrows. But there's laughter now, breakfast full of noise, bike rides through the garden, late nights reading stories and building blanket forts. So here's what I've learned, and maybe you'll get it too. Healing isn't a straight line. It's 1,000 small choices to show up, to stay, to forgive, and be forgiven. It's roots and wings, gold in the cracks, and family made not by blood, but by the effort to keep showing up. You want to know what justice looks like? It's not always punishment or revenge. Sometimes it's having the courage to love through the mess, to turn your house of grief into a home of hope. Now, I'll ask you, what do you think matters more? Where you started or how you choose to stay? Do you think forgiveness is weakness or the only way forward? Share your thoughts, your arguments, your stories. This isn't just our family's fight. It's everyone's. So yeah, that happened. And tomorrow, we do it all over again. Because we're not leaving. Not anymore.